Recently, I repaired my Ender 3 Pro and got it back in service, and then I started wondering, what if I could convert it into a tool changer? And eventually that idea expanded into trying to design a circuit printer from the Ender 3. So the end goal of this project is to print a circuit just on the Ender 3. And I'm not talking about like a single layer circuit or something like that. I mean like multi-layers, like more than two. So it should be able to automatically make vias, traces. I don't think I'll get to the point where it can pick and place parts, as that is very complex, and I'm already trying to push the limits of this tiny printer. So the biggest challenge that I faced is designing a tool changing mechanism, and most actual tool changers are designed with a core XY design, meaning the bed is in place on the XY axis, and then the tool head will move around on the X and Y axis. The Ender 3 is not a Core XY printer. Instead of the bed being fixed, the bed moves on the Y axis, and the tool head moves on the X and Z axis. This poses some challenges for the tool changing mechanism. So my solution for this problem is to store all of the inactive tool heads at the top of the printer instead of the back. I started by designing and 3D printing a very simple mechanism to change the tool using just a magnet, so no electronics involved. Eventually everything will be made out of metal, but for now, all I have access to is a 3D printer. Alright, I am so excited to get this working. As you can see, everything is built, it's assembled. These are the blank tool heads, so they don't actually have like stuff on them, but to go into these slots, check it out. They just slide in that way, so I think I need to add a little bit of lubricant to this one. It's giving a bit of trouble, but that shouldn't be a problem for now. And let's attach these magnets. I need to put magnets in here since this mechanism is magnetic. And then I'll get this thing plugged in and let's fire it up. Okay, so let's fire up the machine. Right, I still have BL Touch firmware. I need to restore it to the stock firmware, but shouldn't be a problem for now. Okay, so now the moment of truth. I'm not gonna level the bed because, home the thing, because the BL Touch is here, not here, so yeah. Okay. Oh no, that's a problem. It won't let me move the x-axis any further. Or wait, I have a solution. I don't know why, but the Z end stop, I put that back on, it doesn't let me go any further, like, to the bed. Now, if I go to motion, move axis. Okay, good. Let's move it up. I need to vertically align the, I need to horizontally align everything. That way the magnets are, like, the most efficient or whatever. Okay, so now, if I just go and move X, I'll just go 1 millimeter at a time. Oh no. That's a problem. Oh. That did not go as planned. Whatever. Oh. What? The magnet just ripped off the glue. Well, new problem. The magnets... It looks like this hole for the magnets is way too small. It is not sticking in here. Time to redesign. Okay, so I made some tweaks. Very, very simple tweaks, nothing big. So, turn it on. Okay. I hope the BL touch doesn't cause any problems. So now, move axis. It's time for the big moment. Alright, we're gonna move the x-axis. It doesn't collide. Wait. Oh no. That's bent the entire thing. Okay, let me try and guide it. Oh, no. Come on. It basically worked. However, yeah, I think these things really need a redesign. The magnet is, even with some tape and glue, the magnet's not holding in. So I found what the issue was where this thing is getting stuck when you push it like that, and I think it might be the distance between the magnet on this side and the one on this plate. So right now on the 3D printer I'm making a new version which should hopefully fix this issue. If not, then it's gonna be tough. Alright, so I got the new part printed and let's test it out. I'm really excited for this. Okay. This is the real problem, though, that we're trying to fix. Oh, come on. No! It got stuck a little bit. Okay, I think I made it a bit too long. I'm just gonna print one more try with it just a tad shorter. Okay, so I redid the design to hopefully prevent like it wiggling on this side. It's doing a pretty good job, and hopefully it'll work this time. Okay, hopefully it doesn't collide too. Can I go back in? Dang it, no. Oh. it ripped off the glue again. Wait, I never even glued it in. This time I actually glued in the magnet. So it looks like now the problem is getting it back in, and also getting it out from the other side. I'm gonna see if it works through the Z-axis moving up instead of the X-axis, because that is how it's gonna work finally. Alright, come on. Looks like it attached nicely. Well, I think now the problem is that this part is having too much friction over here, which is causing, well, that. So I think that's the next thing to fix. I think the problem might not actually be with the friction. It might be that this is getting a bit rotated and it's causing, well, it actually does come back to friction, but the friction is not caused by what I thought it was. I don't know what I did, but I did something that's causing this to actually, like, go back in properly. So this is my latest and hopefully final revision of this mounting mechanism. And instead of just using a magnet, it also uses a physical locking mechanism, which should reduce the rotation, hopefully enough to prevent the jamming that's going on. Okay, I put the new revision on, and a problem with this version is that because of the locking mechanism, it requires like sub-millimeter accuracy for the positioning of everything. Okay, so the magnet and the locking mechanism just went in really cleanly. I need to now align the Z height. Okay, I aligned the height. I think it might actually be too high because this thing here is getting bent, which means it's too high. Now this is the real moment, whether this can go back into the slot without any help from me. It is getting stuck though, which is rather troublesome. You know, I think it might be actually a lubrication issue now, because this is a new part. It does not have any oil or anything on it, so it is still rotating a little bit, so I think I'm gonna have to just calibrate it a bit more. So what I did was I cut out a chamfer with a knife on these attachment mechanisms, and it works. I could play with this all day. I think now it's time to try it using 2 tool heads. Yeah, this one got stuck. I think this one is really tight for no apparent reason. In fact, this one is the one I lubricated. Even, like, I don't think the lubrication did anything. Maybe it even made it worse. So, it basically works. I just need to lubricate this, or I don't even know what I'm going to do with this. I think I'm just going to print a new version of it. And yeah, it works. Theoretically, we could have up to like probably 4 tool heads on this bar alone. I call that a success. So this entire system works great. However, there are some issues. Firstly, where these tools are stored is beyond Y or Z250, which is the Ender 3's limit. However, the motor technically can go above, like right now it is above Y or Z250, because I just like I kind of convinced it that it was a bit lower than it should be, because I never actually homed the machine. However, if you home the machine using the Z end stop, it will not let you go past like however far you need to go for it to even work. So my temporary solution is just going to be to raise the Z end stop, but the permanent solution is we need to remove the software limit. Another thing I need to do is add a tool change command. So ideally when you want to change tools, you'll just send a command like T0, T1, and it should just work. However, as you just saw, I have to like look at it and manually like do everything, blah blah blah. But I think this video has been long enough, so I'll add that in the next episode. So make sure to stay tuned for that, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.